All right, so this video is going to go over groups with you and just kind of give you a general overview and maybe walk you through doing a few things with a group. The general idea behind a group is it's something that's more long term than a course. It's not necessarily going to have information in it that's going to be graded. Um, you know, when you build a course, you're going to have communication tools in there. You're going to share all of your information in there. You're going to grade assignments in there. You're going to build assignments in there. A group is really more of, I want to put all my ninth graders in a group so that I can send them things for the next 4 years. So a group is a lot more long term. It's not really a place to put graded assignments because you can't grade anything inside of a group. You can only post things there. You can do a few other different things, but that'll let you get information pushed out to those groups. You can use a send message inside Schoology and post to a whole group at once. So, as long as you're keeping those groups up to date, you can push all kind of things informational to groups. So to get started, to get to groups, go to your Schoology homepage and then go up here to where it says groups. You see when I clicked on groups, it brought up my 4 groups. And if you're in more groups than just the 4, or like me, I'm just in 4. If you're in more groups, it may or may not show up for you. It depends on your settings. So if they don't show up for you, go over here to My Groups and click. And then it'll list out all of your current groups. And you can even check and do archived groups and look at archived groups. You see you have the option of doing school groups and public groups. But for the most part, everything's going to be under this My Groups tab in groups. So I'm going to click on the RC test group. And the same way that the shield with a star inside of courses means that you're an admin, the shield with a star on groups means that you're an admin member of that. So I'm going to click there on my test group. Now, if you're a group admin, this will be more or less what you see. You'll get a lot more options than just a regular group member. You'll see that your updates is the first page so that you can see anything that's recent in the group. You'll see members and upcoming events. Now, everybody gets the upcoming, but not everybody, depending on your settings, gets the members. So just to start, up here at Group Options, I'm going to skip Send Message for now, but Edit Info. Of course, if I click anywhere in this, on those group options, I had Info, Settings, Moderate, and Recycle Bin that I could have clicked there. All it would have done is taken me straight to a tab instead of letting me choose the tab once I got inside Edit Group. So you can see here under Info, I can add a description, I can change my name, I can set my privacy level, I can set my access level. So access levels, invite only, like it says, it's invite only. You have to invite somebody to be in your group. Allow request lets you give that join code or access code and lets people join using that. Of course, you have to approve them if they have, if you do allow request. Now, if it's an open group, all they have to have is the access code. Once they put that in, they're part of the group. So, for the most part, you're going to want to do allow request. And then I set my category as a department group because this test group is going to be used primarily for training purposes. So after you finish doing this, before you move on to any other tab, click Save Changes. And up here at the top, you'll see the green bar. Will confirm that your changes have been saved. So I'll move on to Settings. On the Settings tab, this is where I get the opportunity to turn things on and turn things off, depending on membership levels. So in the privacy settings, you can see that I'm set on group. So this means only members of my group can see those things or interact with my group. you'll probably never use the no one tab. There might be a few special cases where you could use that, but for the most part, you're not going to use that one. School, you could use school in some instances, especially if you're creating full grade level groups where you're putting everybody in 9th grade or 10th grade or kindergarten in these groups. And organization is countywide. So this is where students from Woodland can see what's in the group from Wadley. So this is going to be an organizational thing that you probably will not ever use, but it's there. All right, so down here under other settings, this is where you have your settings for who is in your group. So for right now, all of my members of my group can post, can comment, and can create discussions. So they can pretty much handle everything on those first 2 or 3 tabs on the left. First 2 tabs. The create resources, that could be something that you want all members to be able to do. It's probably not something you want all members to be able to do. It just depends on how you get your group set up and what you have in mind for this group. And then down below it says parent settings. Parents have view-only access to all children's groups. So if their child is in this group, they're going to be able to see the things in these groups. They don't necessarily get to join any group. They're tied to their student. Moderate. This is something I highly encourage you to turn on, and here it's turned off. So highly encourage you to turn this on for student groups. Staff groups, I hope y'all will not post inappropriate things in a staff group, but for student groups, probably should go ahead and turn this on. And when you enable it, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to enable this stuff? So I'm just going to post. All right, now I'm going to refresh. And you can see that I just put in a post. I refreshed my post. I refreshed my screen here to see my post. And it's sitting here. And what's happening is before anything that's being posted goes to the group so that everybody can see it, it's saying to you, hey, let's check this. Let's make sure this is appropriate for the group. So this one is, I'm going to check here next to it and approve. Now, if you have multiple things that you need to approve, you can click this checkbox at the top and then press approve, and that will approve everything in the list. I can also look at my deleted posts, and I can do this without having moderation on. This can be handy in case you have students that post things and then they turn it off or delete it so that because they may be a little bit embarrassed by their post, or they don't want everybody to see it. You can go back and then you can see, hey, this person posted something, and you can start tracing it back. And you can see everything is time stamped, even down to telling me exactly when it was deleted. So you have a couple of different options there with moderation. Recycle bin, it's really more for resources if you delete a resource. But now I'm going to go back to my test group. So you can see this is my feed. This is the updates. It's the first page that you'll see anytime you go into a group. Right here's where you can add updates. You can add files to look at. You can link to pages if you need to add a link to scholarships or something like that. You can link here. That's a resource. That is a resource you already have in Schoology that you're just linking it to this group or adding it to this group. Schoology allows you to do an audio video recording from this page, and then I can create a poll. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a poll because that's the easiest of the 4 choices or 5 choices. True, false. And then I need to type a description or a question or something here. Please take my second poll and then post it. Once you post it, it's live. Because I'm an admin, it goes straight to it. It trusts me. And it goes ahead and posts everything out there. So I don't have to moderate myself as an admin. So that's the updates. Now to go to discussions. Click over here on the left. I can add a discussion or I can access a discussion that's already there. So I'm going to go ahead and click here. And then you can see that I commented on the discussion that was going on when during the training that we had for Schoology. And my trainer was moving very fast that day. So, just a little short discussion question or statement there. But now I can have comments. And you see across here, I can format my comments. And really, anything in Schoology I can format. So, I can also add files, links, resources. Again, that's a resource that's personally mine. It may be stored in a group somewhere. It may be stored in a course, but that's one of the resources that I already have within Schoology. And then again, I can do an audio video recording. So something to think about if we were to go to a blended model or a fully virtual model, or if you just want to use this every day in your classroom, right here is not really the best place to do personal things, but you can have every kid respond through video as to what they think about something, so that you're watching them speak and can see them as they either read something or it's really just a good way to get that face-to-face contact. Lots of things can be conveyed via written word, but sometimes you just need that spoken face-to-face communication, and this will give you that kind of in an asynchronous model. Anyway, I'm going to post. You can see that my comment popped up. So I'm going to go back to my test group, and then I'm going to go back to discussions because I want to show you how to add a discussion. So I press my add discussion button. I give my discussion a title. And then type correctly. Or, you can do that audio video recording, or again, you have all the options down here to add other resources other than just typed words. Then create, and then there it is. And I can see my post on there. I can come over here as an admin and delete discussions. I can't do that as a student. Next tab down, it's albums. This is where you can add an album. We're just going to give it the name album 1. I can add my options there. And you can see our description. You see under options, comments enabled. You might want to turn comments off. And then you also see here that instructors and students can add media. You might want to change that to only instructors can add media. It just depends on who your audience is and if you trust them not to put inappropriate things in there. So I'm going to turn that back on, and I'm going to turn the comments back on and create. Now I can attach files, and you see here the max file size is 512 megabytes. That's a pretty big file. It's going to take you a few minutes to upload something that big. And that's really there so that you can upload short video clips. Now, you're not going to upload hour-long things at 512 megabytes per file, but you might get 15 minutes worth of something there. I'm going to cancel that because I really don't have any media to add right now, and go down to my next tab, which is members. So in members, I can see who's a member of my group, who's an admin of my group. So you can see the first two people here are admins. We have the shields with the stars. And then this third person does not have that. So that means that they're just a member. So they're just somebody out there that can view the group. They can't really control it, but they can participate in the group. Now I'm going to go down to resources. Actually, I'm going to go back up to members because I need to show you how to add a member. So you remember we talked about in settings the different ways that people can join your group. So if you know who you want to join your group and it's a small group, add them here. Just start typing in their name and it will pop up, and then you can select them. And once you have everybody selected, so you see I can select multiple people. And I'm going to deselect them because I really don't want them added. And then I press add members. If I want to just invite a class or a large number of people, I give them the access code. And you can see the access code is here on the members page, but it's also over here in my left-hand menu, and it stays there constantly. So you'll see that access code in just about everything that you're doing on Schoology. Courses have access code, groups have access code. So anything in those first two, you're always going to have an access code. I can tell it to require approval. So this is the difference in the open versus the allow to join. If I require approval, I allow them to join because it's going to pop up and it's going to say, will you please approve these members? And then you just approve members. If you just leave it open like it is right now, anybody can join this. So I'm going to click require approval. And then I'm going to go down to resources. This will be the last tab we cover in groups. In resources, these are things that you want to share with the group, and it can be basically anything within Schoology. And like everything else, you want to add the folder first so that you can start adding this in, because otherwise you just kind of have a big pool of resources that may be hundreds or thousands of resources long, depending on how much is put in this folder. So, if this is a senior group, I might want to put graduation information. And I can change my folder to be a different color. And then in my description, I'm going to put everything you need to know for graduation. Great. So now I can put all of my graduation information in this folder. And so I can start adding my resources. And it can be anything. Now, if I want to leave the group, I come down here and I press leave the group. I wish I could remove that from the group so that people couldn't just selectively remove themselves from groups. Because what if you have a senior that you're in a senior group and you're using it to pass all this information out, and they press leave this group, and then they don't get any notifications, and they don't really see anything that you put out because they've left the group, and nobody knows because you've got 30, 40, 50 kids in this group that you don't know. So leave this group is really something that you point out and you say, don't ever press this. Or you may just never point it out. The last thing I want to show you about groups is here in group options. Send message. And you see it's got all members. So if I want to send a message and I have all of my 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th or whoever is in this group, I have all of that grade level in a group, I can now message my grade level all at once. Or, you can have it set up as a career tech group. And I can send all of my career tech students something. Or anything that you can imagine where it might be a group that needs to be put together so that you can share informational things. That's not, it's something I'm going to use as reference material for the next couple of years or months, or, it doesn't need to be something tied to a course. It's not something that I'm going to grade. So really, you're to the point that you don't necessarily want to create a group for every course. You may create a group across grade level or a group across a homeroom, or especially if it's a homeroom at a high school level. You want to create those groups. You don't want to create groups for courses, because everything that you just saw in groups, you can also do with courses. So that's the distinction between the two.